Hey my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X-Wing Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I just kind of wanted to talk about these 5090, 5080 leaks, just I guess GPU leaks in general. And I mean, it is that time of the year where people start to come out with these. They start to come out with these these guesses, the educated guesses, stuff like that. They start to come out with these want tos or hopefuls or just these feelings about, you know, the new generation, you know, the speculation about how good these cards are going to be, what they're going to cost, the power of them, and just what they're going to do. And you know, I just find it funny that we get to that. I just find it funny that we keep falling for this, to be completely honest with you guys. Like, how do we keep falling for this? Like, how are we so like gullible that we keep falling for these marketing, for this marketing, which is basically what it is. So we go most of the year. They start hyping up like the power and the specs and this and that, and oh my gosh, it's going to be way better than this, or it's going to be way better than that. It's going to have this feature, that feature, you know, and this is all GPUs, you know, out on the market. Or hey, this thing is going to be this powerful in terms of AMD, and the AMD is just going to come out and like blow Nvidia out the water with like these really low prices. Like AMD is just going to go bankrupt just to sell these super powerful GPUs and rebuild good faith with the gaming community, knowing damn well that if it costs Nvidia a lot of money to make these cards, like it costs AMD probably more because they don't have as big a footprint. So it costs them significantly more, so they can't like chop them. Like, I find PC gamers to be the most hypocritical people on the planet, because it's like, you want all this power, but then you expect a company like AMD to just give it to you because somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that has a sister that has a boyfriend that knows somebody on his aunt's side of the family that says AMD has bad drivers. So, and now everybody's just supposed to take that as gospel, that like, oh man, AMD has bad drivers or Nvidia is better. And it's like these people just come out with this idea and mindset that the AMD is just bad, it's not worth it. I have that same mindset too, because that's what I was told. That's what I was led to believe as a consumer, from people in my own community, from people at the store. When you go to buy it, you've got the people that are like, oh man, why would you buy AMD? Nvidia is the best. That's trash. You're going to buy that and you'd be way better off at this, you know, even if it's only got 12 gigs of VRAM, but it's got DLSS and it's got ray tracing and blah, blah, blah. And dudes sitting there thinking like, well, I'm just going to play RTS games. And they're like, oh no, man, you need Nvidia. You need Nvidia because. And it's like, knowing that dude would have been happier with 16 gigs of VRAM and a 7800 XT. That dude would have been able to run his games at 4K for the rest of his life. He would have had an amazing deal. And he would have had good freaking, you know what I mean? It's like, nobody is objective or subjective anymore when it comes to this stuff. Nobody asks anybody, hey man, what kind of games do you play? Because I've played a lot of games. I played some RTS games, I played some shooter games, I played some esports games. I've played all kinds of games on my GPUs. And nobody asks anybody that anymore. It's like, oh no, you just want Nvidia because AMD's trash. And it's like, dude, there are games that perform significantly better on AMD hardware. There's games that run significantly better on Nvidia hardware. So instead of like just all encompassing like, oh man, Nvidia's the best. No, how about we try to actually find out what gamers actually need before we recommend some kind of GPU to them that they could either make or break their gaming experience. I think that we owe that to each other as gamers and as tech reviewers to actually put in that extra work to find what's best for that person. Because here's what's going to happen. We're in this cycle again of the leaks and the rumors and the speculation of how good AMD is going to be and how cheap they're going to sell it to undercut Nvidia. And we're talking about how great Nvidia is and how powerful it's going to be. And then we're talking about like, ooh gosh, but it's going to be costly, but it'll be all right because it's Nvidia and it's going to run at higher power draw. You know, the same thing that everybody complained about AMD this generation, the Nvidia cards are probably going to meet or exceed power wise, but everybody will be fine with that all of a sudden. All of a sudden 400 watts is going to be perfect. 600 watts, no problem. Look at what the 5090 can do. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care because they're gonna be like, the power. When I'm looking at that and I'm like, dude, my 7900 XTX is a freaking beast at 400 watts. But Nvidia can do it lower. You're right. But it can't ray trace. It can't do any of the stuff that it's supposed to freaking do longer into a generation. I don't know. I know. It's not funny. It's true and it's sad. But the biggest kicker of it all, my friends, and this is where it like really gets me and it starts to really tick me off, is because all of them same dudes that are out there hyping it up and then like fake complaining about the price of the 5090 GPU. They're just fake complaining, dude. They get the GPU for free. Nvidia is going to give it to them. They're going to say nice things about it. They're going to talk about how great DLSS and frame generation and neural whatever freaking. They're going to talk about all this stuff, and they're going to talk about it as a matter of fact. Nvidia's better, and everybody's going to buy that stuff up. Everybody's going to feel like, oh yeah, it is part of the marketing arm, my friends. Like nothing's for free. Nothing is for free. Like you get a freaking product for somebody, you cover that product. It's a win-win. They get that exposure from to your fan base, and you get a product. It's not free. There's always a thing with that. With Nvidia, and here's the kicker. Here's the biggest kicker. This is all you need to know. With a company like Nvidia, for them to send you a free GPU, it's not. They might not even have to tell you, hey, you gotta say this, you gotta say that, dude. If Nvidia gives you a GPU, most people, like, I'm not gonna say everybody, because there's some people out there that might just call them on their crap and be like, no, dude, these prices are getting ridiculous. But I think most people would just be like, okay, everybody already thinks it. I'm not doing anything wrong by saying, yeah, this is the best. I mean, whatever. I mean, clearly AMD's not going to have a GPU that's going to beat the 5090. So theoretically, they can say Nvidia's the best no matter what. As a matter of fact, and it still be true, and they're not lying, they're not hurting anybody, and that's how they justify saying Nvidia's the best. But how the hell do they justify saying get a 12 gigabyte Nvidia GPU for more money than a 16 gigabyte 7800 XT or a 7900 GRE? How do they justify that? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Yeah, you can justify the high end all you want, because yeah, clearly it is the best. But how do you justify continuing all the way down the thing by propping up Nvidia, saying that, yeah, dude, you want the DLSS, you want the ray tracing, you want blah, 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 knowing damn well, just after a couple generations, I already saw this, knowing damn well that 12 gigabyte 4070 GPU that those guys bought because you recommended them to them, they would have had a better experience on a 7800 XT longer. They would have had absolutely more beneficial features that were actually usable for them on that GPU, on those two GPUs, the 7800 XT, 7900 GRE. Those features would have been better, and they would have been able to actually use them a lot longer into the generation across multiple types of genres of video games. Whereas on Nvidia, like, we literally got like what, four path tracing games at the end of the generation that are really making the 40 series cards kind of sweat it out a little bit. Do you really think that they should be sweating at 2 years old? I don't know. These cards are so expensive nowadays. I remember when I first started talking about PC and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, like coming into it, from a console, I'm like, all right, yeah, $700 for GPU, not a problem. Okay, that sounds fair to me. And then everybody was like, no, man, these things should be like $400. They should be, and I was like, what are you guys talking about, man? This is way more powerful than my console. What? and I'm talking about a 3080 10 gig, and I'm like, this is way more powerful than my Series X and and that's what I truly believed. And then I'm looking at the price of that, and it didn't really dawn on me until we get to the 40 series, and they're like, okay, well, guess what, guys? The 4080 is going to be a 256-bit bus, and I'm like, no, wait, the 80 card should be 320. The Xbox Series X is like 320. I mean, like, like what are you talking about? Like, how is that even possible? That to me doesn't sound. That sounds weaker. And like everybody just looked at me like, what are you talking about, man? Like, you're dumb. And I'm like, no, dude. Like they're literally locking me into a 4070. Just because of the pre-built that I bought. Like, that is my only option is 4070, and it only has 12 gigs. It's only got 2 more gigs, and I'm already struggling with 10 gigs trying to run the games at the play. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, no, this isn't right. This isn't possible. And then, as you continue to move forward and you start to see what's going on, and nobody's calling it out. Nobody's calling it out. Everybody's out there just hyping up the new cards, hyping up the thing to get their clicks, whatever. The hype is what builds the clicks right now, the anticipation, and then the cards will come out with their prices, and everybody will be like, no, these prices are these prices, and then proceed to cover these things positively for the next 2 years instead of being like, no, this price is ridiculous. Stand your ground. Us gamers don't need 32 gigs of RAM right now. Clearly that card is designed for AI, because that's where you're going to benefit. You'll actually be able to use the 36 gigs. You'll 100% be able to use that. There are games right now that are pushing the door or pushing the boundaries at 16 gigs. So yeah, move that up to 20, 24, whatever. They are starting to push on that boundary a little bit. So like a 5080 coming out with 16 gigs of VRAM. Ooh, yeah, maybe not. It is what it is. Maybe you gotta, I'm still on the fence about that too. It's like, okay, yeah. To me, like 16 gigs of VRAM is solid 1440p. That's like solid 1440p, high end 1440p. That's just me though. That's where I see it. Because I see 20 and 24 gigs as being like, yeah, obviously developers are starting to push past 16 gigs, especially at like 4K and stuff. They're starting to push past that. Like, I've seen games running at 20 gigs of VRAM. So yes, we are going to start getting games that are going to push past all that, And so when I look at that and I look at the price, these prices for like the 5090, the 5080, obviously, they're marketing these cards to the AI crowd. They're not building them for your gamers anymore, but they are still charging the gamers. They're like, yeah, I don't care if you buy one. Absolutely, it's going to be good for your video games. But sadly, it's a work professional GPU, so you're going to pay more for it. I don't know, guys. That's the thing that I think is kind of scummy about Nvidia. It's like they know damn well that they're giving these. Here's the thing. If they're not built for gaming, if they're built for AI, why the hell are they giving 5090's to freaking gaming channels? For people to do gaming benchmarks on them. Why would they do that? Why would they even do that? Like, why wouldn't they say, why wouldn't Nvidia be like, okay, your gaming channel, okay, 5080 is the max we're giving you. That's our gaming GPU. These are not designed. The 5090 is not designed for gaming. This is workflow. This is the price is going to be significantly higher than any gamer needs to pay for. They're not going to be able to use a significant portion of this GPU power. The CPUs that they have are not going to be able to push this when they're trying to play games. Why the hell are they giving those GPUs to gamers to do benchmarks on? Why? It doesn't make any sense. 5080, obviously, yeah, maybe that one, is still considered. I mean, it's got 16 gigs of RAM. You'll definitely be able to push on that wall with textures and stuff like that. Power, you'll be able to do that. I mean, obviously, you'll be able to, fairly decently with today's CPUs, be able to run that 4K, get a good frame rate, 1080p, whatever. You could still do it. Like, you can literally feasibly use a 5080, a 4080 for gaming. You start getting into 4090 and obviously, 5090 and stuff like that are starting to pack on more features than you need. And it's like, okay, where does that go? Like, what are you going to do with a 5090 in gaming that isn't just complete freaking overkill or underutilization of that hardware that you're buying. You are literally spending so much money on hardware that you are not even tapping into at all. Like, those cards are designed for AI. You can run a lot of AI, large language models, on a 32 gigabyte freaking GPU. You can load all of that. So you literally load that all into video memory. Like, you load the language model, everything, and man, it's like right there, and it's fast. It's fast freaking memory. It'll be able to do all of your everything you need it to do. It'll be able to like go through that whole database. It'll be able to like, it's cool. Like, running a large language model on your own freaking physical hardware is absolutely incredible. And you can do that with a 5090. And that's the crowd for that card. And so they can charge significantly more money for that. But the funny thing is like, the gamers, they're still going to give this damn card to the gamer channels. For what? Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about buying a 5090, but then when I really look at it, I'm like, unless I really am going to be able to do all the AI stuff that I want to do for the channel without, dude, I've got so much to learn. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm trying to learn that. I'm trying to learn how to make that feasible and how to work. And I'm just like, gosh, dude, that is so much. That is so much freaking work that I got to figure out, my friends. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing that. That at least right now, I'm not doing that. So yeah, guys, why do they give these cards? Why do they give these cards to freaking to gaming channels? Why do they do that? If they are not built for gamers, why do they keep giving them to gamer channels? So let me know in the comment section how you feel about that, what you feel about that. If you think that I'm out of line, if I'm just being dumb, if I'm just being negative towards Nvidia, let me know how you feel, guys. I want to know, because these are the kind of things that I think about in my little froggy brain. Like, it's a little froggy brain. And I want to know, man. Like, I just want to know. Like, I mean, froggy brains are smaller than Chihuahua brains. So sometimes my brain just doesn't, that's what my brain thinks about, man. I'm like, dude, if I buy a 5090, I'm not even going to use all of that. You know, just like a 4090, like, nobody's using all of that, and they're losing performance on their games. And I'm like, what the freak is going on? How is this happening? How is this even possible? The 4090 is the bestest card ever made. Significantly better than a PS5 and a PS5 Pro and a Series X and you know what I mean? Like, how the hell are these things not being able to just blow past these consoles at 4K? Like, how? You know what I mean? How? So yeah, that's where I'm stumped. Like, how can a 4090, $2,000 GPU not be able to simply, absolutely, completely obliterate these consoles? How is it losing performance, man? Like, it should be getting better, right? I don't know. So, all right, my friends, if you guys like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.